When God's going to use you greatly, He'll hurt you deeply. I don't like that. I don't like the theology of that. I wish it wasn't true. I wish I could give you a positive, powerful message every time, but I'm just going to tell you, in this life, you will have tribulation. And if God's going to use you, sometimes it takes the worst things done to you to bring out the best in you. And you're never better than when you're weeping for a brother. You're never better when you're saying, I think I'll try again. You're never better when you say, Lord, restart my heart. And listen, forgiveness doesn't mean that somebody needs to be at your table necessarily. There's some situations that you just have to forgive, and then you do the best you can with it. I think sometimes people think, you know, this whole thing of forgive and forget. What is that? Forgive and forget. How do you forgive and forget somebody who abused one of your children? How do you forgive? How do you forget? Forgiveness is not amnesia. Forgiveness is not, unless you're going to get a lobotomy. I mean, how do you forget that somebody stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from your business and put you in a mess? You know, that's actually happened to people. How do you forget that a husband cheated on you? How do you forget that? Listen, it's not that you just block it out. Now I'm happy and clappy. You remember it differently.
There you go.
It becomes a reference point of how far God has brought you. That I can hear, here's how you know you've forgiven somebody. I can hear their name and I'm not mad anymore. Here's another way you know you've forgiven somebody. When you have the power to hurt them. When you have the power to give them as good as they gave you and more. Just like Joseph, and that's what so touched me about your story. To me, the most powerful part of the story of Joseph, who was done wrong by his own brothers and so on, is when his brothers come back and Joseph is disguised. You remember the story? They don't know it's him. And he's got the keys to the corn. He's the most powerful man. Everybody else has nothing. And the Bible said when he saw them, they were talking, and they thought he was an Egyptian, so they were talking in Hebrew. And they were saying, this is God getting us back for what we did to our brother Joseph. And when he heard that conversation, the Bible said he went behind the curtain and he wept. That goes back to that moment you just said, when God begins to restart your heart. Maybe it's going to be steps. Maybe that's the first step. Maybe it's just, we say, God, restart my heart. Maybe I can say their name and not be mad, not be angry. I can pray for them every day. I can begin to ask. I can begin to seek. I can begin to pray. And it may take a long time. You have to let God, you know, God gives us, I believe, with even forgiving people, especially in a bad, horrible situation. The Bible talks about a space of grace. I know we have to forgive people, but God knows that we're human. And so I think He gives us a space of grace. That He says, I'm going to give you a little time now, but I'm going to work on you. I'm going to work on you. And when I say a space of grace, that's not 10 years. You can't wait 10 years or so, or 20 years or whatever. But at some point, the Holy Spirit will come back and say, now it's been enough time. Let me restart your heart, at least to reach out and try to love like you've never been hurt. If you'll do what you can, God will do what you can't.